Hello. So this time I'm going to create a character for the game Trophy Gold, which is a version of Trophy Dark. And Trophy Dark is actually the original trophy, and then Trophy Gold is created as more of a campaign or longer term game version of this, because this is more like a one-shot game where your characters go to the last expedition and die horribly or become part of the forest. Like it says, this is not a game of brave adventurers slaying dragons and dragging gold back to town. This is a horror story of treasure hunters meeting tragic ends in a haunted forest that doesn't want them there. And you can especially see it on the pictures on the cover. Like the characters are small. It's almost like romantic paintings where you got the big blue sky and small humans, small people. In this you got small people and a big dark forest. So you're out of power. In Gold you have a bit more power because it's, as I said, it's meant for campaigns where you actually return to town and go out to the adventure again. But still, the people are small and they are exploring big, dangerous ruins and other places in the forest or somewhere else. And then there's this Trophy Loom, which is not a game but a setting book with a lot of random tables. As you can see, the characters are small again, going down into the old ruins in the forest. And it also got a map with a big Kaldur forest. And in the beginning, actually, Trophy Dark was meant as when it was called Trophy, it was meant as a game to play Simple Room, but with more simple rules. And what I like about this is the rules and the system itself. Of course, it's a very narrative game and simple, and with a lot of improvisation, not just for the GM but also for the other players, which is an interesting way to play. But I also like the minimalist setting. Like it's not, there aren't walls of text about every place, so it's not a canon, more like an anti-canon where the GM and the players create the world as they go on. So it's yeah. But if you want, you can get sparks of ideas from this Trophy Loom book. But what I'm gonna do today is create a character for Trophy Gold. I've got the character sheet. Haven't done this for a while. I played it in a group once and it was quite fun. But I think I'm just gonna start. And I got my trophy dice, which are made of bone and horn. I bought them when I bought the game, like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I think 2 years ago, because it's actually got some pictures of dice which are can't seem to find it. Well, it doesn't matter. It's just the theme and the tone of this game is just amazing, I think. This dark fantasy horror. Okay, so I'm gonna roll for a name. 46. It's Orlin. 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 And then I'm gonna roll for an occupation. What's his occupation? 22. It's a cook. Oh, and I forgot the most important part. Of course, taking a picture and work from that. I think I'm gonna try using this Lamentations of the Flame Princess one because they are sometimes more dark and more sinister, which fits Trophy great. I'll pull a picture. This guy. Okay, it's a bit dark. Doesn't matter. it's a cool picture with a lot of wrinkles and details. I think it fits the realism of this game quite well. Okay, so now I'm just gonna see where I put it. In the top, doesn't matter. As I said before, every character sheet for every game should have like a box for doing a portrait, for drawing a portrait or to put a picture into it. I think it doesn't get talked about a lot, but I like having something visual in my game. Because visual stuff gives me ideas, just like I just talked about these pictures. They spark a lot of ideas, and they give me the tone of the game world. Okay, so next up. Oh, and by the way, I rolled a cook. So the tables are in the inside of, in the beginning of the book, which is nice, very handy. So cook, it gave me some skills, and I'll write down the skills for that. Not the background skill, but the occupation skills. This is almost flowchart. You write cook here, and then it goes down to 3 skills, which is food, makes sense, improvisation, and poisons. Nice. And in this game, when there's a so-called risk roll, you gain an extra light die, which are the dice that are not dangerous to roll. The dark die are dangerous, but the light die you gain 1 more if you have either a skill or a piece of equipment that helps you in whatever you want to do. So if I would want to, I don't know, poison someone, obviously poisons would grant me another die. So it's actually a dice pools game, but not with a lot of dice, but only a few. So it's very simple like that. Now I'm going to roll for the background. 63. Uninspired artisan. And the skill that goes along is crafting. Actually, I have to look up what an artisan is just to make sure. I'll Google it. Artisan, Danish. Håndværker in Danish. Okay, so obviously someone who can build stuff. Cool. Then I'm gonna roll for the drive, whatever drives this character into exploring very dangerous places. What does he want with this and with the riches he finds? 14. Become part of the swirling court. Okay. Become part of the swirling court. And whatever that means is up to the player, up to me, or whoever wants to play with this character. It isn't defined. You can, however, look into Trophy Loom if you want to. So the swirling court, I don't know where to find this. I haven't looked that much into this. So actually, maybe I can't even find anything. This also got monster generators, by the way, and weapon generator, which is cool. I think I'll use it for a weapon or something like that. Well, he wants to become part of a swirling court. The swirling court. court. So he wants to be recognized as some kind of heroic person. That's the way I interpret that. Ritual options. Yeah. The rituals is the magic system. Everyone can do a ritual, but they will roll a risk roll and they will add a dark die. You add a dark die whenever you do something that's dangerous to your body or mind. And by doing magic or rituals, you always put your mind and your body in jeopardy. So you automatically get a dark die. Unless you have the rituals skill. If you rolled like magician, it's called performance, rituals, and trickery. So, but I don't have the ritual skill, so I can take a ritual if I want. But then there's this on the character sheet where, actually I forgot how many rituals I can start with. But like skills, if I get more skills than these in the white fields, not fields. Doesn't matter. If I write more skills down here in the pink or yellowish or orange, I don't know, grayish, it will cost me one more burden. You automatically start with some burdens. I can't remember how many, but that's the least amount of gold you have to find. And gold is abstract, so if I find a small bag of gold coins, that would be 1 gold. If I find an ancient sword that could be sold to a collector, that's 1 gold. If I find some pots and pans that are antique and could be sold, it's 1 gold. So gold just means 1 treasure, so it's abstracted that way. And when I go out to an adventure, I have to find as minimum as much gold as I have in my burdens. Otherwise I will go back and I will die, because I will go to prison because I'm in debt. So that's it's kind of abstract, but it means you need some income to survive. Otherwise you will be poor and live on the street and die. Cheers. So, I gain a burden whenever I choose, like combat equipment, whenever I choose something inside these pink boxes. So the more rituals and skills and equipment I want with me, the more expensive my life is, basically. And just to see, I'll just look into this. Burdens. Next, choose your backpack equipment and combat equipment and set your burdens. Your burdens are a measure of how much debt or other financial obligations you have, and thus how much gold you need to recover from the forest before returning to town. Your burdens start at 1. I'll write it carefully so I can erase it. But for each piece of combat equipment you choose, increase your burdens by 1. You must have a weapon to participate in a combat roll, though some other objects or rituals may be treated as weapons as at the GM's discretion. Okay. Finally, choose your rituals and mark your ruin. Rituals are dangerous spells you can cast to perform miraculous feats. All treasure hunters can learn and use rituals regardless of background and occupation. You start with 0, 1, 2, or 3 rituals. But you must mark 1 ruin for each ritual you choose. Beware, each ritual drives you 1 step closer to the end. You will lose yourself upon marking 6 ruin. So ruin is over here. The ruin you mark here is your starting ruin. You can never have ruin lower than your starting ruin. Oh yeah, so ruin is, instead of hit points, it's not just physical health, it's also mental health and all kinds of other stuff. So when you go up to 6 ruin, your character goes, you lose your character to the forest, as it says. It could be that you die. It could also be you go mad and run away, or run into the darkness, never to be seen again. It could also be you become a part of the forest, like you look at your teammates and you say, I'm staying here. I feel at home in the forest now, so I'm gonna live here from now on. Or you could, like one of my friends said when we played, it could also be that madman at the inn who just keeps looking down his beer and telling the same and same old story again and again for years. That could also be a character lost. So it's very, very much up to the player who loses his character, what happens to the characters. And I really love that part of the game. And then if you have rituals, you can choose 3 rituals, but you will gain like 1 ruin for each. It's because magic is dangerous. If you know magic, you have looked into the abyss and you're more likely to become part of the forest. That's the thought. And if you get more than 3 rituals, it will also cost you. And that's to represent that it takes training, or it takes some ingredients. Whenever you're at home, you need to eat certain things or sacrifice certain things. So it's an abstract way. And with the skills, it means that if I have another skill that gives me 1 more burden, it could mean that I need to train for maintaining that skill, and that training costs me some money and stuff like that. But I think I didn't get my equipment, and that's in the end pages, which is also very handy. So, character backpack equipment options. Roll once and write down all 3 items. So that's more like miscellaneous items. I'll roll. Oh, and I forgot to... No. So 3, that's this column. And 1, so I got a cage of rats. Three uses, so it's got 3 rats in it. I got a flute and a pot of honey with 6 uses. So yeah, what can I use it for? Well, it depends. Whatever makes sense. Oh yeah, and by the way, whenever you get 1 ruin by taking damage or something else in the game, you also write down a condition, and the condition is narrative. So it might be your hand gets chopped off. So that's 1 ruin. And then you write missing the left hand. Then when you go back to town, you can buy, or you can pay 1 gold to remove that condition, but then I would rule that you can't just put on the hand again, but then you have an artificial hand, and then I would change the condition into artificial hand, or golden hand, or whatever. So your character also becomes more interesting with these damage conditions. It could also just be bruises, and they would disappear. One of my friends, when we played, was fighting a dangerous goat in the swamp, and when he got 1 ruin in that fight, it was his own idea. He developed a fear of horns. So now he had tried that fear of horns, of horn phobia. And when they met some cows later on in the adventure, although they weren't very dangerous, he had to play that he was afraid of these cows with horns. So it's stuff like that makes this game so interesting. I think he might start with some rituals, but I'll get to that. Combat equipment. Add 1 to your burden for each item you choose. I'm not gonna choose. I'm gonna roll. 1, 2, leather gambeson. And weapons and armor just gives you another die whenever you do something risky, by the way. It's like, it works like other equipment or like skills. So armor, leather. And then I'm gonna roll the black one until it is 3 or more. Yeah, so it will become, because the weapon's over here. So 61, dueling saber. Dueling saber. Sabre or saber? Sabre, okay. So, and I'm gonna, yeah. Then you have these 3 empty slots in your backpack equipment. You can fill those out when you're out on an adventure. You can. Oh, didn't I have a bottle? I think I got a bottle. Then I just write a bottle. Then I used that slot for that. You can do that 3 times. I'm also gonna start with a ritual, just because it's fun. I'm gonna roll it. Also because he's got something to do with ingredients, poisons and stuff like that. It might be some kind of potion stuff. Let's see what it will be. 5-2. Dryad. Oh, I can choose Dryad, Mask, or Unravel. Interesting. Okay, so Dryad. And these, by the way, are the spell descriptions. So it's very light and very up to the interpretation of the games master and the players. So Dryad is stay still to transform into a tree and communicate with other trees. Okay. And of course it's dangerous to do this ritual. But there was one of them that was something about calling an ocean beast, which is an extreme spell. I don't know what it was called. Okay, it was Dryad. Man, I'm a bit confused now. 5-2. Mask. Let's see what Mask says. It says cover your face to remove yourself from others' senses. Okay, so you cover your face and you basically turn invisible. And then it's Unravel. Let's see. Unravel. Pull the threads of a ritual to uncast it and recast it somewhere else. I don't get that. It's not that interesting, I think. I think the thing with covering your face and to... What was it again? To be invisible, it didn't say that. Cover your face to remove yourself from others' senses. It kind of fits this this cook who also knows stuff about poison, that he poisons food and then disappears into a crowd. I think that's cool. I'm gonna say Mask. That's one more starting burden. So it's dangerous. And I think I'll just keep it at that for now. Your hoard is whenever you return. Oh yeah, and I changed my burden to 3 because I got 2 combat equipment. So that's the least amount of gold I have to find every time I go out. So if let's say I found 5 gold, 5 pieces of different treasure, then I return to my town, to my home, I pay the 3, then I got 2 left. I can put the 2 into hoard, or I can buy stuff. But then I would put them into this, and whenever this hoard is full with 50 pieces of gold or treasure, that would fulfill my drive. I would then become a part of the swirling court. So, and then the character is finished. So that's a very concrete goal to work to. I think that the swirling court is like a council of of powerful people in the big city. Let's say that. And he wants to become part of that. He's seen like the fine people when he cooked food for them or when he built houses for them, and he wants to become part of the elite of the society. And when he's rich enough, he can become, he can make a name for himself, and he can become one of the elite. So that's like his goal. So yeah, that's Orlan, the uninspired artisan and cook. So thanks for watching. I hope you liked it, and I'm gonna submit this to the Man Alone pre-gen celebration as well. Bye.